Videos are quickly becoming one of the most popular forms of expression on the internet today. From cooking videos to little bits of details of somebody's life that they posted on Facebook, or a complaint that somebody may have had on Twitter, or just something uploaded to YouTube, like the cooking videos. Um, there has been a massive influx of people creating something new and just putting themselves out for the world to see. So, because of how many videos we do come across on a daily basis, we may not think it's something that you can properly rhetorically analyze in a college class. So, because of this, some college courses will take video essays in place of the standard essay, um, while other colleges will have a multimodal component as sort of a larger project for members of the class to work on. This video is going to focus on breaking down several popular YouTubers and analyzing the things that they had to put into their videos in order to be effective to a wider range of audiences and the type of rhetoric that they have to call upon in order to do so. A billion hours of YouTube videos are watched daily, and that's so far in 2020, the daily average, which is a ridiculous number. So obviously, YouTube is something that is used in our everyday lives, but people may not think about all of the arguments being made in this space. To keep this video informal and approachable, I'm going to just use information that I can actually find on YouTube to compose my argument as well, just to try to break down what can be said about the space, what has to be done, everything that needs to be considered, and how it can apply to what we may consider rhetorical elements for normal essays. And to get started, I'm going to focus on video essayist Lindsay Ellis, who is a popular YouTuber who had a weird bit of origin. And as you can see here, she is the keynote speaker at the XOXO Festival last year in 2019. In this forum she's speaking as not too different from her typical environment, being online with an audience she has to imagine. The only difference is that she does have somebody to give her direct feedback instead of reading it in the comments of one of her videos or having some sort of message sent to her. But she does mainly focus on
media criticism, which is kind of a fancy way of saying I spend an hour talking about how much I hated the Beauty and the Beast remake. I also do have a show where I talk about film theory concepts, because that's my area of study.
It takes a while to get to this point, of course, and her popularity is large in part due to how she approaches and relates to her audience. She has a specific type of niche that she addresses, and she makes sure to play off of that and inject her own style and theory into her videos in order to appease her audiences, keep them invested, keep them listening and watching. She has also a bit of a strong voice for social justice, and which is weird considering her actual origins. She joined this website called Channel Awesome, and she was the female counterpart to the male host called Nostalgia Critic, and she was listed as Nostalgia Chick. These videos have been uploaded again recently with the name changed to Nostalgic Woman, so she's no longer directly related to Nostalgia Critic. Although in this role, she was forced to review a lot of Disney movies, some other cartoons, things made for children, and just the things that are a little bit weird.
Say what you want about the 80s, but you have to give it to kids' movies. They were a lot less one note. Race parables with foxes and hounds.
Videos like this conform to the standard of analysis more than one might expect. There's a bit of an overview, some detailed information, but with the added extra of having some additional information and things to look at to keep the reader interested, just like the bookshelf in the background with some books, and use a lot of hand gestures to keep the audience's attention. This isn't the only thing that Ellis addresses, as she also talks about the process of getting a book published and some of the things she knows on YouTube.
Several drafts, and by the time you think you are ready to go, you are wrong. Put that thing back in the drawer, take it around the block a few more times, it still needs work. Years and months. Early episodes are actually very conventional and more in the vein of your typical Food Network show. But about 5 months after the channel launched, in the Flower Pot of Cake episode published on May 5th, 2015, a new element is introduced.
Then I measure the Do I look tired? No. Circumference.
The giggle you hear is the voice of producer Jocelyn Mercer, and her presence in the series, interacting with Yolanda from off screen, only increases from here, to the point where now it's a feature of the show.
So it's a workout game.
This element proves engaging, and in the following months, there is a correlation of increased interaction between the production crew and the host. In effect, Yolanda breaks down the facade that is production. She jokes with her producer, she jokes with her cameraman.
Are Americans gonna get mad at this?
Probably. Sometimes she even jokes with her editor who is not in the room. The series went from the occasional fourth wall breaks to fourth wall breaks being a part of the show's identity. Yolanda and her producers have effectively figured out not only how to market a curated version of her personality, but with how she interacts with her crew. And the interactions with the crew make the show feel more authentic. You feel like you're just, in the room, hanging out, laughing about this elaborate cake that looks like a giant turkey. Now, this falls into line with the appeal of YouTube in general, that it strips away the polished facade of television to give you something more real.
And one of the things to think about is the environment that you're recording your video in. With me, I currently have my camera mounted on a light bulb with a ceiling. So what do we have going along with the environment, this sense of authenticity, this building of a community? Well, we totally have one of the rhetorical triangles. We have the speaker, we have the audience, we have the message. All of it working together with just some editorial techniques to keep the audience invested. And along with this, we have another thing to consider. From going like this, if I was talking down to a camera, and then you'd have to look at this scary thing. The lighting is just something having a ceiling. I had to change that bulb the other day. Yeah, but it was none of that. It's actually a direct connection with the community that's not readily apparent in paper form. With something video related, we do have this bit of slice of life information. We have these people working together and interacting with people to draw them in and to convince them more, because they are establishing themselves as an authority. But that's not all they do. There are two things going on in this video. One thing Ellis talked about, and another thing we're going to discuss.
Hey, I'm Derek, it's me, Derek, and welcome to Stop Skeletons from Fighting. Let's hear it for the Game Boy Color, man. It was not only one hell of a system.
Here we have a juxtaposition of images overlaid the actual video itself. This is a common practice as well, but there's something a bit interactive about this video with a lot of moving colors and the intensity and loudness of the speaker's voice. So here we have another thing that helps establish a connection with the audience aside from the super nerdy topic.
Last one in North America, but no, it was good old HEP. He gets the honor. Grace, the kids call it HEP? No. Good old HEP, right? Is that a thing? Uncle Derek is making it a thing. It's HEP. That's your boy. H to the P. I'm cool. Hello, fellow kids. I'm down with the teens. I'm not down with the teens. Even as a teen, I wasn't down with the teens. This is true, yeah.
Oh, we got a producer. So moving on, we have the Blog Brothers, which started as a YouTube channel so two brothers could keep in touch across states. This blew up, and both brothers gained popularity, and now one of those brothers is...
of anger is reading my collected works. You'll never guess what came in the mail today, unless you guess it's The Fault in Our Stars.
And hopefully you're noticing how common this intense voice is, such as with Nostalgia Critic.
If you're really surprised by anything awkward that follows, you can't say they didn't warn you.
Video sort of necessitates everything being exaggerated.
Stores rejected it, and its release status is a mystery. It's so rare that to this day, not a single cartridge or physical copy has shown up.
Grand gestures, body movements, all of these help keep the audience's eyes on the screen and paying attention.
Apparently Jackie Chan is in the game, who I doubt gave any consent to Happy Soft or was even aware of it. The image is stolen from the film Wheels on Meals.
The creator can yell for the audience, but there are also very chaotic things about video making.
Now, something I forgot to notice you'll see is that I left about 1 second of silence just looking at the camera. I don't look away, I don't look down. And the reason for this, I found out, is that even reviews need pacing. And that doesn't mean that you're necessarily leaving just a long place for people to laugh, because you know they're going to laugh very long, because you can't hold on a shot for too long. But I found in the beginning, a lot of times I would cut it too fast, and it wouldn't allow time for what you're saying to sink in, or process, or something like that. And just like a movie or a bit of writing or anything, reviews do need pacing. So you can't just have everything.
Kairos, or timeliness, or the ideal time plays a big part in video production, probably more so than a speech or some other type of argumentative piece. Because here, the ideal time also represents when things need to happen, when things need to change or shift. And there's a lot to consider, and there's only a short time that you get to grab an audience's attention and keep them watching your video, unless you are forcing them to watch it, but that's a whole different scenario. So there's something that needs to be done in order to keep your audience invested while getting your message across. There's an interplay of the appeals along with enjoyability. And being the right distance from the camera and having good lighting and audibility, as mentioned earlier, is very important. Having clear pronunciation, making sure that you sound just the same as you did at the beginning of the video as you do at the end. There should be some sort of consistency, whether or not you're louder when you have like things on the screen, and you're slightly lower because you're farther away from the microphone source when you are recording in person. But anything that's done incorrectly can detract from your audience's experience, and then your argument won't be taken as seriously. One of the things Nostalgia Critic does in order to prevent this is actually have perform skits where he has two consistent actors play different roles in some of their videos that they make that are supposed to be related to the topic at hand. Other people or other channels do different topics in order to get views. They have interesting types of videos to at least bring audiences back. They may not watch every type of video, but they'll at least watch some of them.
We're doing the 7th commandment. They forgot a knot. So their Bible said, "Thou shalt commit adultery." As you can imagine, this didn't go over particularly well. The Archbishop of Canterbury said, "I knew the time when great care was had about printing, Bibles especially."
And then editing a video is so much more difficult than actually editing a standard paper, but a whole lot more about that will be said in a later video. So just try to think of the ways that videos deal with the appeals in different ways, and the other things that have to be taken into consideration as well when looking at videos. Clearly, there are things to consider when analyzing the typical video, or just wondering what goes into the standard production and rhetorical choices that certain producers make in order to keep their videos interesting and themselves paid. So hopefully this video helped, and thanks for watching, even though some of you had to. Have a wonderful day! I wasn't recording. No. We gotta do it again. You could move, and I was always walking out of range of my microphone, so I had really quiet audio. God. I can't keep that in. Here I have a bunch of my wife's cute stuff in the background, but it is the standard bookshelves that you will see. Man, I'm really close. I gotta work on distance. I feel like 15-year-old creeper again. Let's do it again. Fall upon in order to do so. Yeah, that was good. I like that one. Oh, I keep it. No, but I shouldn't keep this.